Respected NI Director Dr. Nachiketa Rawat sir, respected resource person Dr. Rasina Padman madam, respected seniors and dear colleagues. We are now in the third session of the weekly webinar series on early identification and intervention of childhood disabilities conducted by CRC Kozhikode. In the last two sessions, we had a very scholarly discourses on the medical perspectives of early identification and early intervention of disabilities by clinicians of national repute. These were indeed academic fees which highlighted that the crux of disability prevention lies in early identification and early intervention. Now we are shifting our focus to yet another important domain of effective intervention in disability, the role of parents. In a sense, this topic would be the most important topic in early intervention to be discussed on. And to talk on this topic, we have the most distinguished academician with us now. Dr. M.S. Rasina Padman, a master both in psychology and sociology and PhD in psychology, was professor and director, School of Behavioral Sciences, Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam. She was also the Dean, Faculty of Behavioral Sciences, Mahatma Gandhi University. She was the Syndicate, Senate, Planning Board and Educational Board member of Mahatma Gandhi University. She is also a member of the Board of Studies of half a dozen universities in South India. She has a teaching and research experience of over 35 years and has produced 20 PhDs under her. And I'm so glad that I had the good fortune to be a PhD scholar under her masterly guidance and teaching. Madam is also a visiting professor in 3 universities and has hundreds of research papers and 8 books published to her credit. Madam is also a recipient of many state awards for professional excellence. She is a celebrity psychologist. So I most respectfully welcome you, madam. Madam, I think we can just you can just start off the session, madam. If there is some problem with the audio, we'll let you know, ma'am. Audible, madam.
Today, the topic of discussion is role of parents in identification of childhood disabilities. I think I will be dealing with the topic in 3 different parts. The first one, I would like to tell you who is a parent and what are the functions of a parent. And the second part will cover the role of a parent in identifying the childhood disabilities. And the third part will deal with in what all ways this early identification will help the parent himself, the child, and the special education professionals working around the child in future. I request all of you to mute because some disturbances are coming. Someone is not muting the mic. Okay. If you have any difficulty, please call me and tell me. I'm just starting. See, the first part, as I told you, I would like to tell you who is a parent and what are the functions of parenting. Who is a parent? There need not be a clear definition. Any person who take care of the entire well-being of their children are parents. And coming to the functions of the parenting, we have basically certain traditional functions about which all of you know. One is the physiological or biological function. The second one is the emotional function. Third one is the social function. And fourth one is the spiritual function. See, almost all the parents are aware of all these traditional functions of parenting. Whether they are practicing it or not, most of them are aware that they have to take care of the children's needs at the biological, emotional, social and spiritual levels. But besides this traditional parenting functions, there are very different functions that the parent has to be keen about. You know, a parent can be a parent only when they adhere to the developmental practices of children. Like, I'm coming to one very important point. Almost all the functions of parenting begins after the child is born. You must remember or you must realize that a child is born even before the birth of the child. The development starts in the womb of the mother, in the uterus of the mother. Everything starts there. And see, when something is out of your sight, it cannot be out of your mind because your child started to grow. So that for the same reason, the prenatal period is very, very important as far as parents are concerned. But most of the parents are doing very well with the postnatal period. But as long as they don't see their child grow, they are not bothered about the different types of development taking place inside the uterus of the mother in the prenatal period. The prenatal period is very significant as far as the parents are concerned, specifically with regard to disabilities. Two main developments are going on in the prenatal period in the uterus of the mother. One is biological growth and second one is emotional growth. See, both are responsible for the disabilities that can or that may occur in future. I know even in villages, women are taking care to feed their child. And that means the physical health of the pregnant woman and the child is taken. Okay, I was talking about the care mostly the women and the parents give to their children. But what about the mental health of children? Is it really taken care of? What happens to a pregnant woman when she is under constant stress? What happens to your body when you are undergoing an emotional state? See, you know, very toxic hormones like adrenaline will be produced. And when it is in high intensity and the stress is continuous, then a constant release of adrenaline, and that will be into the bloodstream, and that will be taken to the child along with the oxygen and food. Especially when the child is growing, the brain is growing, it will definitely have an adverse effect on the growth and development of the child. So, one very important thing is, every parent should know that the prenatal period, everything has to start with prenatal period. Don't wait for the baby to come out so that you start parenting or identifying what issues are going on with the baby. You definitely know that prevention is always better than cure. See, don't wait for a problem to occur. If you can prevent it, you should prevent it. That is again a very important role of a parent. Okay, leave the prenatal part. I know it is very important, you have got my point. The time of delivery, the process of delivery is very significant. It's a very short period, the shortest developmental period you can say, but it has its own significance. Prolonged delivery, the various complications that can occur at the time of delivery. The deprivation of so many conducive factors, lack of adequate medical help and support. All this can create problems later. So the process of delivery is very important. Any mother who is giving birth to a child should be aware of the seriousness of the process of delivery so that she can prevent further complications. Okay, leave that also because the natal period, say prolonged delivery, we have heard that. Rupturing of embryonic fluid even before the birth of the child. Even different types of complexities. Different types of childbirth using equipments like vacuum, forceps delivery, etc. So all this can cause or may lead to further complications later for the child. Coming to the postnatal period.
Postnatal period, the early periods like infancy and babyhood, you can concentrate on that. Because almost all 24 hours, the child is remaining with the parents, especially the mother. The mother has a very important role. And if she has to take that important role, the father has to be with her with full support. And the postnatal period, especially the first baby cry. Now, when people come to us with a mentally retarded child for counseling or admission to special school, generally, while we take a case history, we ask them a question. Did your baby cry immediately after the birth? Most of the women, they don't remember at all. In fact, they don't bother at all. That means the significance of the first cry is not very clear to them. I would like to explain to you what is the significance of the first baby cry. Because you are the people to take all this to the, those sections of the people who are working in it, into it, this field. Like, see, till that day, till the time of birth, the baby is comfortably inside the uterus of the mother. And immediately, the moment the child comes out of the uterus of the mother, the child is into a totally different environment. The oxygen was supplied to the child earlier, but now the child has to get it by his own. That is the first process where the child takes the first effort. The first cry is the first effort to take in oxygen. It is along with the first cry that the lungs of the child gets activated and begins to function. Even a very little delay, a fraction of a second, that oxygen deprivation to the brain will create a lot of severe problems and can be very, very fatal to the functioning of the brain later. See, you know, oxygen deprivation to the brain can damage at least a few cells, and that can be a very important reason for disabilities later. So every mother should be cautious, or she should be well informed that she should be, keep her eyes and ear wide open for the first cry of the baby. So please remember that the first cry of the baby is a very important indicator of the total health of the child. Though medical help is there, even mothers should be well informed about such things. And then, coming to the postnatal, like infancy, immediately after the birth, you have mainly at least 15 days where the child is getting adjusted to the environment. Parents have a very important role. The environment should be stimulating, protective, and with soft words, soft talk, and baby touch and baby talk, which the mothers, the relatives, which everybody at home will have to do it intensively so that the child gets very well adjusted with the new environment. So this is also a role of a parent. A stimulation of the brain, security feeling of the child. This is very, very important. See, now coming to the postnatal development of the child, every mother, every parent should be informed about the various developmental aspects of a child. First of all, she should know what is a normal development and who is a normal child. Only if somebody knows who is a normal child and what are the characteristic features of a normal development, only then she will be able to identify what is the issue with her child. Only then she will be able to identify what is wrong with the child. So first of all, she should know what is a normal development. And then she should definitely know the various developmental milestones, the various characteristic features in each of the milestones. See, we need not go to all the milestones, but at least early period is very, very important. An early period, a lot of things happens. And mother is the best person and the first person to identify what is right and what is wrong with the child and any issue with the child or if the child is growing in a normal pattern. If she has to know that the child is growing in a normal pattern, she has to know the various characteristics in each pattern, the various developmental tasks which the child has to accomplish in each stage of development. And she also has to know what are the various hurdles or hazards we call, developmental hazards, that the child has to face to complete the developmental tasks. Besides, there are developmental needs which differ from one stage to another stage. So I'm just repeating, there are 4 very important things which every parent has to understand in order to understand, identify, and manage their children's disabilities. One is they have to know about the characteristics in each milestone. What is a 2-year-old boy supposed to do? What are the needs of a 4-year-old child? What are the tasks that a 3-year-old has to complete? Why they are not able to complete a task? Is it because of the developmental hazards they are facing? So, developmental characteristics, developmental tasks, developmental hazards, and the needs. Children have needs. Children have biological needs. Children have emotional needs. Children have social needs. They have spiritual needs. All these needs have to be met properly. And a stimulative environment has to be created for the proper development of the child. So the first and the most important thing to prevent or to identify childhood disability is not just by-hearting or reading books and understanding the symptoms, but first a mental readiness, a concern, a responsibility felt by the parents. A number of studies in psychology have been conducted to analyze the various factors of good parenting style. And the most important one, which was mentioned in most of the studies, was the responsibility and the concern of the parents regarding their children. I think if I remember right, the concern for the child is the most important. If a parent has a concern, everything else will come. The identification is very easy. See, once you know that the child has to undergo all the stages, the child has to meet all these tasks, the child has certain needs and that has to be met, the child has certain hazards that will have to be supported, then you will be able to understand where the child goes wrong. That is what we call developmental delay. So a parent's role is to identify the developmental delay in various areas of child's development. See, some delay in his speech and language, some delay in his vision, some delay in his coordination, some delay in his activities. See, mere observation and mere responsibility can help any parent to identify in advance the various issues which are going to be real big problem in later life in their children. So, the parent's role is not to just identify, but it is to gather information about child. And any of us who are working in this field of special education should not be very bluntly approach the problem. You have to start from the very beginning, educate the parents, remind them of their responsibility as a parent. Tell them that they have a very important role to understand their children's normal development and then understand where the delay is occurring. Once the delay has been identified, then it is very easy to identify the developmental problems of the child. See, take for example, there are problems with vision, there are problems with speech and language, there are problems with cognitive functioning. So autism is there, Down syndrome is there, so many childhood disabilities are there. Once they are identified properly, once some delay is identified by a mother, it is very easy that she can take the child for a medical help. The testing can be done. Early identification will definitely lead to early intervention. For that, at least the critical period of development should be known. See, for a critical period in speech and language, for example, is from birth to about 4 years. You need not go up to 4 years. Even within 4 months, we will be able to identify some issues with regard to the child's language and speech. See, a mother with keen observation, a mother with concern, a mother with a motherly responsibility will be able to know whether the child gets startled at a loud noise. Or even if there are lots of problems around, means voices and noises around, the child is able to sleep properly, sleep soundly. See, when the child is not sleeping, are you able to calm the child with your familiar voice? And do the children respond to your calls, your gestures? If no, this is simple observation. These things which I mentioned can be identified within 4 months. And you can say there is some problem. Mothers are definitely not medical professionals, but mothers are everything. See, mere identification will do. And immediate medical help, we can do wonders to her, to your child. So first thing is observation, concern, and responsibility. That is the 3 important roles of parents. See, especially in the early years of child development, the responsible parenting is a term. Anybody can give birth to a child and say that I am a mother. But a responsible motherhood is different, totally different. We say parenting is not only a skill, but it is an art also. And when you have a passion, when you have a concern, when you have a genuine interest, a need is felt, then the responsibility comes. That's the role of the parents. And now, even with regard to vision, it is easily identifiable. See, does the child go near the objects to watch it? Do they keep the things very close to them so that they'll be able to see? And are they finding it very difficult to identify certain things? Very easy to identify children with visual problems, deficits. Recently, a study was, I read one of the studies done in India as a whole. It was stating that about 90% of the mothers didn't know that their child had a visual problem until the teachers called them and said that child is not writing properly or not doing the homework, not completing the work in school. And the child was severely beaten up by the parent, by the teachers. And the total mental health of the child was also shattered. Actually, the problem was his problem with the vision. Just imagine that pathetic condition of a child where the mother is not able to identify that her own child had a visual deficit. Unless the teacher started to complain about he not completing the homework and classwork at the right time. Since he was not able to attend the class properly, he was sitting at the back, creating problems for others, was very inattentive, being very intelligent. He could not contribute anything in the class due to the visual deficit. So it is not mere identification. It is helping the child in his full extent. That is the role of the parent. So what I'm trying to tell is, we have a preventive role. We can prevent the child from developing some sort of disabilities by watching him, by providing him with nutritious food, by keeping ourselves happy, by providing a conducive environment at home. And we can be aware of the first birth cry, and we can be aware of the complexities of the child labor and take necessary precautions. That is the preventive side. And coming to the postnatal early years, the mothers can be very contributory factor. And the third part I'm going to tell you is how this identification or the signals which the parents get that something is wrong, he is not normal, or he is having some deviation from the normal children, can help the child. See, such recognitions, such identifications can definitely help the parent himself, the child, and also the professionals who are going to give him support. The first thing is, early identification can bring early intervention. Now, that's the greatest thing. An early intervention can check an impairment from progressing into disability, and that in turn to handicap. There is a big difference between impairment, disability, and handicap. See, a structural loss or deficit, an anatomical loss or deficit, or a sensory organ is an impairment. See, once the mother or a parent identifies that there is an impairment for the child, an early intervention can rectify to some extent the impairment. If proper interventions are not done at the right time, this anatomical or sensory deficits can progress into a disability. A disability is a deficit in performance. See, have you not seen children with various types of disabilities accomplishing in life? That is because of the parents. Once I happened to see an autistic child performing about 12 music instruments at a time. You know, his parents both were doctors. with lots of hopes and dreams. They had a child. And he happened to be an autistic. And these autistic characteristics were recognized by the mother first. And immediately the child was taken for an early intervention. And intense training was given to him. Whatever help, whatever support, whatever facilities were available in the field of special education was coordinated by the parents. And you see the result. He is conducting musical concerts using and handling about 12 musical instruments at a time. The audience were wonderstruck. That was a magical performance of an autistic child. If one autistic child is able to do that, means depending on the seriousness, intensity of the problem, many will be able to do that. Again, here the role of parents is very, very important, very, very crucial. Now, any number of examples can be given. Any number of examples can be given where disabled children have accomplished greater heights with the help and support of their parents. And so what is the role of the parent in management, in the treatment and rehabilitation of these disabled children once it is recognized? One is definitely taking medical help. Gathering information and whereabouts about the particular disability. Obtaining medical support and available resources for the child. Getting certification so that it can be used for the welfare of the child and education purpose in future. Getting the help of assistive technology. That's the role of parent. It is not simply identification alone. It is management, rehabilitation. It is mainstreaming. How the child can be brought to the mainstream. Opportunities can be provided. Social interactions can be facilitated. Specialist clinics can be identified and listed out. Groups can be formed with the effort of the parents, and group coordinated activities can change the lives of disabled children if all the parents come together. The initiative should come from the parents. I have been communicating with parental groups at different times, and I have seen some of the groups doing wonders. Now, when they come together, first thing is the role of the parent is immense, you can say, immense. Now, it is only after the parents have come together. In fact, revolutionary changes have come out. They were able to set up vocational training centers. They were able to help the children to market the products which the children were making. Even this Christmas, I had some Christmas stars. I bought it from a special school. It was so wonderful to buy it from there, and it was a nice makeup. Once trained, these children are able to do several things. Even, when I was working as the director of behavioral science department, with lots of apprehension, we started a file making unit. And for that, I went to a special school in Koilon. And there I saw children making files. And then I came out with all enthusiasm I called my special teachers and said, if those children can make files, we have a university here. I can make arrangements that the university will buy the files made by our children. And the whole thing started. And that could materialize when the parents also gave us full support. A few parents were there and they came together. They had the children to make the boards first, made the paste, and so much of background help came from the parents, and then there was a flow of files and the life of children changed. So role of parents in identification of childhood is just only one aspect. But walking with them, taking up the challenge along with them, soothing them, comforting them, providing positive factors for the children, all will help. You know, instead of self-pity, denial, becoming aggressive, frustrated, the parents should learn to be positive. I've seen many parents see the approach with which they treat the children make a lot of difference. So the role of parents are multifold or multifaceted. You know, when speaking about a mentally retarded child, what now we call mentally challenged child, mental retardation is not lack of intelligence. It is simply below average intelligence. If 100 is the average IQ, there I have seen so many people between 90 and 110, we say average. I have seen so many people with average IQ worse than a mentally challenged person because they are not stimulated or cared properly. Even I have seen several so-called mentally retarded children with below 80 or 70 performing very well, leading a very nice life, enjoying life, contributing, mixing, having social interaction, being a part and parcel of the family and the society and the community because of the role that the parents have taken. So don't limit the role of parents. They have three important roles to play. Although we have given us identification, the role of parents in identification, I would rather say, because all of you listening here are working or in one way or other related to this field. So you should understand how parents' role differ and the accomplishment of the development of children also differ. So I think when we conclude, we have to conclude as the role into three different dimensions. One is preventive, the role of parents in preventing childhood disabilities. The second one, in understanding a child's normal development, gathering information about child development, it is the role. It is the role. Only if they know the normal development, they'll be able to understand where their child is going wrong. What are the issues? And that is the midway role, identification. If they are able to identify, the next thing is provide service. Be with the child, encourage the child, expose the child, use all available resources for the betterment of the child. See, when I was working, I used to take my MPhil students to National Institute, various national institutes of disabilities. I've seen myself that how children improve with training and proper education. There was a period in our society where these mentally challenged children were locked inside dark rooms. Some 20 years back, I have seen children being treated as a curse to their family, and they were locked up in dark rooms. Whenever a guest comes, the people were feeling very guilty about a child being mentally retarded. They were not giving any training. And when I visited the NIMH in Secunderabad once, I saw many children with, they were burned in the forehead. They were burned. That the parents themselves were putting hot iron on the forehead so that the evil spirit in the child will get released. Just imagine. It is, I think, about some 15 or 20 years back. They were burning the children's forehead with iron rods, parents. It is not out of hatred, it is out of love and concern, but it is ignorance, lack of information. So the most important role is to gather information about child development. Then they will know how the child can be improved. Then they will know what are the tasks they will be able to contribute so that the children will be able to complete the tasks. And after the NIMH came into survival there, existence there, see a lot of difference. Almost all children, even from villages, are being taken to NIMH for training. They are running canteens, they are running press, they are doing all sorts of work in the campus. Everything in the campus is run by the mentally retarded children. That is training. And in almost every center where the children are being trained and proper facilities are provided, the mothers are coordinating. So the role of a mother is very vast. It's not only prevention, it is not only identification, but also they have to contribute to the entire, development of the child, even in future. They can see once they send children to special schools. Some of the parents take special schools as a dump place. They will dump the children there and then leave it. The responsibility of parents will never end when the child goes to the school. The IEP prepared by the school teachers or the school authorities, individualized education program, has to be followed up by the parent. Without parental involvement, the full progression, full development of the child is just impossible. It is both school and home. It is an interactive effort. So the role of parents, I really believe that the first thing in special education, or those people who are working in the field of special education, has to focus on the role of parents. Their significance. So instead of crying, instead of sighing, instead of getting frustrated, instead of blaming, instead of self-cursing, developing self-pity, they can work positively. that inculcating a positive attitude in parents itself is the responsibility of the special educators or special education professionals. When the parents realize their role, they change. They change, especially mothers. They change. See, once we met a girl, a pregnant woman. It was her first pregnancy. She was having morning sickness. And she was saying she is not able to eat. So 1 month is over. She is saying she has not eaten at all. Literally, she has not eaten anything at all because of vomiting. She is saying the moment she takes something, she vomits everything out. We gave her a counseling saying that how food is important for the development of the child, of her child. See, for the brain development, protein-rich food is essential. And I even went to the extent of telling the mother that you are such a cruel woman. And once you don't eat, your child is not eating. You are not giving food to your child. I said, what will happen if your child becomes a mentally challenged or with intellectual retardation or a cognitive problem? If your child is not getting enough, your child's brain is not getting enough nutrition to grow, what will happen to the child in later years? And you know, after a few days, I met her again. And to my wonder, she's saying, there is no more vomiting. There is no more morning sickness. She has started to take plenty of food. So people change. That is mother. So this love, this concern of mothers, we can utilize that. We have to convince them that they have different role, that they are the most significant person in the life of such children. So I don't know. I have not gone into the identification part by quoting symptoms or how you will be able to identify a Down syndrome, how you will be able to identify a mentally retarded children. That everything you can get. But why you should gather information, why you should identify, why you should learn, why you should have concern for your children, you may not get from a book. That aspect you will not get from a Google search. All the rest, how to identify a Down syndrome, the symptoms, you just go to Google, you will get the answer. How to identify a child with speech problem, you can get in Google. But how to utilize your concern for your child, you may not get in Google. That has to be reminded. That has to be convinced. The parents have to be motivated to take up their role. I hope that all those people who are listening to me understand the vastness or the importance of the role, the multifaceted role the parents will have to take when they have a child with different types of challenging disabilities. Let them take disability as a challenge. Let them try whatever they can do and make the full advantage of the potential that the child has. Let them take assistive help. The technology is there. And not only that, whatever identification they have done, that information is very, very valuable for the health professionals, for the school authorities. So let us wind up. I just took this 1 hour time to remind you that parents are very important and their role is not not only in identification, but in prevention and also in management.
They have to be a pillar in almost all activities of their child. I hope the role of parents and their involvement is well understood by the audience, and you will take this to the parents. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much for this clear and lucid description of.
If you want to share something, please do share.
Yes, sure, ma'am. So thank you so much, madam, for this very wonderful session. You described the entire phase in a very clear and lucid manner, right from the prenatal period. Parenting starts right from the prenatal period. With that note, you have taken us through the entire set of events and what all things we have to be careful about and all. So now this floor is open for discussion. Anyone who has got any doubt or something, you can very well ask. Or you have some comments or queries or anything, you can just unmute yourself and you can feel free to ask the question or make your comment. Or if you have some doubts, you can also post it in the chat box here.